afternoon, everyone. I hope you all can hear me okay. Thank you for joining me for today's webinar on TD Snap in a Snap. I'm going to get started there now in a few seconds. I can see we have a few familiar names and also a few new names as well. Okay. Yeah, so I'll get started there now for you. So today's webinar, we're going to go through, as I mentioned, TD Snap in a Snap. So I'm going to go through the software, kind of an overview of the different areas, the different page sets, and some of the new features that are available on it as well, including the Google Assistant as well. Okay. So throughout the webinar, if you have any questions, you can, of course, just put them into the questions and answer section on the left-hand side. You'll see a Q&A with a question mark, just either on the left-hand side of your screen, or if it's on a phone, maybe it's on the bottom of your screen as well. So any questions that you have throughout the webinar, my colleagues Connor and Ashita are also in the webinar, and they'll be able to answer at any point as well. So there's no problem there, and I can come back to them at the end of the webinar as well if there's any other questions as well. And of course, at the end, you have questions time as well. So I hope everyone can hear me okay. So I'll get started there now. So for anyone who doesn't know me, I can see there's a few new names here now. My name is Michael Braswell, and I'm with SafeCare just about 4 years now, and I will be the Assistive Technology Specialist for SafeCare Technologies. So SafeCare as a company ourselves, we are an assistive technology company. We offer AAC for communication devices. We offer assistive technology for switches and joysticks and so on and so forth. We have the SHX multi-sensory room system. We work with cognition products, and also we do some environmental control as well. So some of the brands that we do work with are Tobii Dynavox for our communication devices and software. We work with Readapt for mounting solutions for wheelchairs, tables, and floors. We work with AbleNet and Praetorian as well for switches and joysticks. Abelia for some environmental control, and BJ Live as well for some environmental control, and also for the multi-sensory rooms. So I suppose I'll get to the point of this webinar. So that's TD Snap in a Snap. So TD Snap in a Snap has various different various different symbols within the software. So we have the classic symbols, we have the thin line symbols, high contrast symbols, and in contextual symbols as well. So originally you would have seen that there would have been the classic symbols, and over time then through research and with the introduction of the different page sets, there was new symbols introduced. So then we introduced the thin line symbols, the high contrast symbols, and the in contextual symbols will be the newest ones on the aphasia-based page set. So you'll see from the images in the slide here now, there's some of the different images that are available. And there's also bi-weekly updates as well. So as, I suppose, to keep up with current affairs, for example, we would have, Brexit symbols. They would have the recent war in Ukraine symbols. There would be also, I suppose we introduce our own Irish symbols as well, environmental impact symbols, and so on and so forth, and climate change. So here's just some of the Irish symbols that we have introduced. We did run I suppose pre-COVID, we ran a tour around Ireland where we did a board maker tour, and we asked the attendees just to give us some of the Irish symbols that they think might be relevant and might be useful. So these are just some of them, to name a few. There is a lot more available, and also if you would like to get your own symbols made, just let us know, and what we can do is we can get them sent on to Tobii, and they can make those symbols for you as well. So there is over 55,000 symbols on the software at the moment. So just a glance, I suppose, at the page sets. Now, we will go into more detail in a while because I'll open up the software. But just as an overview, here are some of the page sets that are available on the TD Snap software. We've got the Core First page set, we've got the text-based page set, and we've also got the aphasia-based page set. You've also as well got the introduction of Gateway page set and Pod page set, which will be in-app purchases within the software as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to straight over to TD Snap, and we'll go over and we'll take a look at the different page sets. So opening up the software, I have it at the moment on the PCS symbol page set. So what I can do is I'll just go straight into my settings just to show you here now. So under page set, I have a few of the different page sets listed here. We've got the aphasia-based page set, the Core First page set, text-based page set, and we also have the introduction of some of the new bilingual page sets as well, Core First and English or Spanish here as well, which I will show you in a second. So just at a glance, we'll look at the Core First page set first of all, and you'll see here now that there's a few different areas on the left-hand side. So the software itself is built up of different language. There is both novel and formulaic language within the software itself. If we take a look at, for example, the core words, which is the page we're on at the moment, we also have the all words list over on the right-hand side, and we also have the keyboard here as well down the left-hand side. Those particular areas are for expanding vocabulary and creating sentences, for example. And if we look at the quickfires and the topics, these particular areas then are for quick phrases. So if we have something we want to say quickly, or if we're in a situation where basically, for example, we might be out, camping or something, or, we could be cooking something. They're very situational. So we have different topics based around different situations, for example. So they're just some of the different areas within the PCS symbol page set. If I jump over to the text-based page set, then we have similar enough to the layout of the PCS symbol page set. We've got quick fires again for our quick phrases. We've got the phrases section again. So these are more quick fires as well, situational as well. We've got bathroom, body, computer, for example. We've got the keyboard again for that conversational. So to add in vocabulary. We've got a notes section if we want to type in notes. And we've also got the dashboard section that you would see throughout the different page sets as well. And then the other main page set would be the aphasia-based page set. So if I jump into that then as well, you will see again, we have got the toolbar down the left-hand side. We've got some word lists. So we have those quick phrases around different topics. Again, you've got people, places, food and drinks. So if I jump into drinks, for example, we can quickly request a drink. Or going back, we can quickly request, something to do with entertainment, for example. You want to watch your favorite TV show or something like that. We've got, again, our quick fires for those quick responses, quick phrases. There is also the introduction of the whiteboard. And the great thing about this whiteboard is it's not just available on the PCS symbol page set. And that goes for any pages that you'll see or any kind of areas that you'll see of any other page set. You can actually transfer them over to any page set at all. So this whiteboard, I'll show you how to put that into the PCS symbol page set in a while. You can also move any of the other page sets that you find as well. For example, if the word list was quite a popular one, we can move that over to the PCS symbol page set or even the text-based page set. Or even the topics, grids, or visual scenes. So even if I jump into the visual scenes, you'll see we have more situational information around, for example, the weather. We can have that visual image of the, I suppose, maybe out in the park, like this image here, and then some vocabulary and some phrases saved around that particular image here then as well. If I scroll down as well, then we have a keyboard. So again, just expanding that vocabulary and, maybe I suppose being able to actually figure out what the phrases you are. If you're forgetting a word, you can just add in that word. If you know a few of the letters, for example, you have your predictive to predict that word. We've also got the dashboard section within the aphasia-based page set, which consists of the calendar. So we have our activities calendars. So we have daily activities, for example, a half hourly throughout the day. This is completely customizable, so we can add maybe every 15 minutes or maybe every hour, for example. And we can even use a weekly schedule. So here we have Monday to Sunday and morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and night. We also have the photo albums. So if I jump into photo albums, we can include those photo albums. So if we have a lot of photos maybe saved on our device, we can click into that. We can have our photos and we can have text based around those photos. So we can speak about those photos, for example. And we've also got rating scales. So we have different types of rating scales. And again, you can use these on different page sets as well. We have a rating scale for 3, 5, a small one, and a large one. So the large one will consist of 10. And these rating scales would be great, for example, how happy or sad I am, or, how excited I am about a holiday or how not excited I am about a holiday, for example. So these can be used in lots of different situations here. And then we can obviously transfer them over to the different page sets as well. So I'm just going to jump back now to the core first page set there now. Okay. And just while I'm getting that ready, just to advise, I suppose the software itself as well is available on all our Tobii Dynavox devices. So I'll show you that in a while. And our Tobii Dynavox range as well consists of Windows devices and the Apple devices as well. So now that I'm back in the core first PCS symbol page set, okay, you'll see here now we're on the core words. So I'm just going to show you how to, I suppose, simply quick edit a button. It's very straightforward. There's only a few steps to it. So I can edit a button no matter where I am in the software. So again, no matter what page set it is, anywhere at all, we can edit a button, we can add a button, and we can delete a button. So I'm just going to jump into the topic section of the PCS symbol page set, and I'm going to go to your topic 1. So this is a blank topic. So again, I can very easily create a button. So all I have to do to create that button is press the settings cog up the top right hand corner. So you'll see that white cog with the pencil. We select that one. All we have to do then is select the button that we want to edit. So we're simply just going to any button at all, pressing that button, and straight away we have this menu that pops up at the bottom of the screen. So we've got, this is our content section, we've got label, message, and no symbol. So every button is that you create would consist of a label, message, and no symbol. So the label is what you see written on the button, the message is what the button will speak, and where it says no symbol, your symbol is going to appear there, and that's the symbol that's going to appear on the button. So let's just take, for example, a fruit item like apple. All I'm typing in now into the label is apple. Simply by typing in the label and pressing done, then pressing my button,
apple,
it speaks for me straight away. So it's very quick and easy. Again, it's just the settings, the button, type in a label, press done,
banana,
and then we have our button. Okay, so that's how easy it is just to create that simple generic button. If we want to go into more detail, for example, I can press the settings cog, press the button I want to edit, and in this case, I'm going to type in kiwi. Okay, so in this particular instance here now, the kiwi image that I wanted isn't the correct one. So I might have to change that image. So I very simply press the image that we'll see next to label and message down the bottom. Selecting that gives me the option of the library, and I can change that to the kiwi. So I can simply press the kiwi and press done. I also have the option of using my own photo. So if I go down underneath the actual symbol image, we've got a little camera icon. That camera icon here, I have two options. So I have from camera, I can take the photo directly from the camera on the device, or simply from photo library where I have the photo already taken, and I just simply upload it from the device onto the software itself. The last step of the button then is the message. So when we create a button and we type in a label, it automatically defaults to the same as the label. But what we can do is we can actually change that message to speak something different. So for example, if we wanted to have the full sentence like, I want a kiwi, we can type that in. So we just simply select where the message section is, type in our sentence, and then simply press done.
I want the kiwi.
And that's our button created. So simply we have that sentence there now. So we can have a word or a full sentence if we like. That's how you simply edit a button. Now I want to show you the different access methods that you will find within the TD Snap software. So the software itself is available on eye gaze devices, touch devices, and you can also use switches as well. So if I select the settings, and if I go down to user, down the bottom of the screen, over on the left-hand side, we've got access methods. So when I select access methods, you'll see it says access method is touch. So if I select where touch is, it gives me the options to use different access methods. So we've got touch, touch enter, touch exit, mouse dwell, eye gaze, and scanning. So they're the different types of access methods that we can use within TD Snap software. I'm not going to go into too much detail about them today because we have other webinars based around access methods already available on our YouTube channel, but there's just a quick glance of the different types that are available for you. I'm now going to show you how to integrate those whiteboards and other pages as mentioned onto the TD Snap software. So to very simply add that particular page, the whiteboard, all we have to do is first of all go to the button that we want to add it into. Now, I generally tend to add the whiteboard to the left-hand side, like what you saw with the aphasia-based page set. So all we have to do is simply press the settings cog with the pencil and find a button that needs to be edited. So in this case, we have loads of plus buttons. You'll see the gray section with the plus buttons down the bottom, and there's a darker gray on the left-hand side. So I'm going to simply press one of those plus buttons to add a button into the software. And just below where we have label, message, and no symbol, we have got an action. So in this case, we're adding an action to open the whiteboard. So we can delete the speak or insert message because we don't want the button to speak. So I'm going to press the trash can that you saw over on the left and then press delete on the right-hand side. Then I'm going to add an action. And here where we have the actions, I can scroll down and I can search for the whiteboard manually. Or over on the right-hand side, you've got this search for actions tab. I can click in here, type in whiteboard, and then we've got open whiteboard. So when I select open whiteboard, I've now created that action. It's filled in the label, the message, and the symbol automatically. So all I have to do is press done. So we'll see that whiteboard is on the left-hand side here. Now it might be a bit too far down because you see there was some buttons hidden a few seconds ago. So I'm going to go back into the settings and I'm going to simply click and drag that button up so it's up near everything else. So I might want to have it between my quick fires and my topics. So I'll just simply drag it up and drop it between both. Okay, press done, and now I have it on the left-hand side. So when I select the whiteboard, it opens up this new whiteboard for me. So I can use the whiteboard as well for communication if I like. So sometimes you might find that, especially maybe in the aphasia-based page that, for maybe remembering names, for example, I can type in, I can select the red color. Oh, what's your name? My name is Michael. Now it's quite hard to write with the mouse, so just bear with me now. Okay, and you can say, oh, what's your name? I change the color. My name's Connor. Okay. Okay, can you show me a picture of yourself? And that's the great thing about the whiteboard as well, as we can add in pictures. So I can go down to the bottom right-hand corner, I can click Add Image, and here I have the option again to take a photo or to add a photo. So I can take the photo directly with the device, or I can go straight to pick a photo from my laptop or my computer or my communication device. Here I have my photo, grab that photo and drag that in. Here I am. Okay, so we can have that photo there and we can say, okay, this is me. So I'm going to get the red again. I'm going to circle my head and I'm going to get an arrow from my name here. Okay, and what do you look like? And then we can get a picture of Connor, for example. Now I don't have one, but we can get the arrow. And then again, we can do the same with the picture and we can have Connor here then, for example. Okay, so that's just how you can use the whiteboard. Now, the great thing about the whiteboard as well is they automatically save as well. So it's over on the left-hand side here. So as time goes on, we might create more and more and more whiteboards, and you'll see we can add new whiteboard, for example. If I scroll down, I can go back and say, oh, remember a few weeks ago you were talking to Connor, for example. So we can go back and we can talk about that situation then again. So that is the whiteboard. If we want to delete those whiteboards, then we simply just select the whiteboard. There's a delete trash can up the top right-hand corner, selecting the delete, and that will delete our whiteboard for us then. Okay. If we want to go back, we can then just simply press the back up the top left-hand corner, and we're back to our core first page set. So that is our whiteboard. Now I'm going to move on to the different, the bilingual page set. So I just want to show you how you can combine two different languages within the software itself and how it actually changes the accent and the actual language of the voice as well. So at the moment I'm using Harry. So if I speak a sentence,
I want more.
That's the Harry voice, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the settings. I'm going to go down to page set. And they're going to change to the Core First English Spanish Bilingual page set. Okay, so straight away when I change that page set, the one difference that you'll see is up the top right hand corner under the word share, we've got the Spanish language here. So I can simply press that button and that goes into that language. So I'm just going to show you, if I type in English, I want more. And now I'm going to change over to Spanish and I'm going to type in the same sentence.
Quiero.
Oh, apologies. Just go back again. Apologies.
I want more.
And back over to Spanish. Yo
quiero más.
Okay, so I typed that in, and what I'll do now is I'll speak it just so you'll hear it.
I want more. Quiero más.
Okay, so you'll hear the accent has changed as well, and the language has also changed as well to Spanish as well. So that's the great thing about the actual software, that it will correctly use the accent of that particular language. So we can jump back again if we want to English, and here we've got the English page set. So we can quickly go between both languages then if we want to as well. Okay, so that is those two page sets. Now I'm just going to quickly jump to the Q&A section because I think there might be a few questions there now. Switches to an iPad to use the scanning feature. Okay, so there is a question from Rachel. Hi there, I was just wondering how I can link a switch to an iPad to use a scanning feature. Now, Rachel, that would depend basically on whether you're just connecting it directly to the actual iPad or if you're using the SC tablet. So if you have a speech case for the actual iPad itself as well. So there would be differences there, and it depends on the product that you're using as well. So what I might do with that is if you want to actually give us an email afterwards, I'll give you the email at the end, and we can actually troubleshoot that a bit more in detail after the webinar itself, okay? And the next question then, how do you get to drop down menu for the editing tool back up? Okay, so I'm just checking there now. So Marie is asking about how do you get the drop down menu for editing tool back up? I'll come back to that in a while. I think you're talking about backing up the software itself, is it? I'll check that in a while. So at the end, I'll come back to that and I'll show you. And when I click the edit button, there is no menu. So the menu down the bottom, if you're using an iPad, sometimes that menu might be hidden when you press the settings. There should be 2 little gray arrows down the left-hand corner of your screen. Press them and the menu will appear again. Okay. And then I see another question. Do you need to be connected to Wi-Fi for any edits? No, so you don't need to be connected to Wi-Fi for any edits. The only times you need to be connected to Wi-Fi for any device is that if you're doing updates on the device. So if you're doing updates on the software itself, and the only other time as well is that if you need to sync your profile. So you're syncing into the cloud, so you need internet for that. That's the only other time you need the internet then as well. Okay, so edits are not for edits, just for updates and for syncing itself. Okay. Let's go through that. So I also want to show you next the behavioral supports. So behavioral supports can be added again in any particular page set, okay? So in this particular page set, in the core first page set, if I click on topics on the left-hand side, you will see there's lots of different situational topics that we have here, okay? So we can choose any one at all we want here. There's lots of different ones. The great thing about this software is these are standard ones. We can hide them, we can delete them, we can edit them as well. So if they're not relevant, we can get rid of them as well. So I'm just going to jump into bubbles, okay? So if I jump into bubbles, you'll see there's lots of different conversation, lots of different vocabulary around the particular topic of bubbles. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see topics, words, and supports. So we do have a section that has topics, words around a particular topic, but we've also got a support section. So if I click into the supports, this particular area will give us different supports, behavioral supports around that topic itself. So the first one to note is the visual timer. So if I click the visual timer, we've got this particular visual timer that counts down out from 5 minutes, okay? So we can play bubbles maybe for 5 minutes, and then we need to go back in and do some work, okay? So you have that timer going down. You'll see the red bar is just going down. It's getting black as we go from the left to the right, and we got the 4:45 on the top right-hand corner. When that finishes, there's going to be a phone alarm sound. So it's basically just a beeping alarm that will sound to let us know that the 5 minutes is up, okay? That's your visual timer. Next, after visual timer, you've got your first and then. So our first and then, you'll see we've got first.
First, open the lid, then use the bubble one to blow.
Okay. Next, we've got a mini schedule, sorry, not a first and then.
First, get out the bubbles. Next, carefully blow without knocking over the bottle. Then, put the wand back in the bottle. Last, clean up.
Okay, so that's your mini schedule. Then we can do scripts around bubbles. For example, a script around the bubbles themselves. I might be talking to someone.
I love bubbles.
Oh, I love bubbles too.
Look, it's going high.
Oh, can you catch it?
I want to
I want to catch it. Oh, yeah.
Give me a
Give
turn.
me a turn. No, it's my turn. Or no, it's your turn. And then.
It's sticky.
Okay, so you can see you can have that conversation around the bubbles, for example. And then we've got the social narrative. So the social narrative around bubbles themselves. So I can click on the outside.
When I want to blow bubbles, I'll ask an adult to help me get set up. We usually like to do this outside so it doesn't get too messy.
Okay, so I'll stop Harry there. So you'll see there now you've got those particular behavioral supports in throughout all those topics as well. So the great thing about the behavioral supports is you can obviously use the ones that are there, you can edit those existing ones, and you can also set up your own new ones as well. Okay, so if you want to set up your own new ones as well, you can. And if we actually go to the left-hand side and go into the dashboard, you'll see there's also a visual timer button here. So this visual timer button gives us a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5, 10, 15, and so on and so forth. There's a few different timers that we can use. So we can automatically, if we don't have that visual timer created yet, there's no need to worry. You can go straight into the dashboard, click on any random one here, say, okay, this is going to be a 10-minute activity. Let's set a 10-minute timer. Once that's up, again, we have to go back and do some work. Okay, so there are your behavioral supports. The next new feature I want to show you about TD Snap is printing. So having the communication device is fantastic, but there's going to come times when you may need the low-tech communication board. So what we can do from the TD Snap software is that if we've created that particular page set and we need that low-tech version of it, we can actually print that directly from the device. So if you have a communication device that is connected directly to Wi-Fi, and also you have a printer that is connected to the Wi-Fi, you can send that piece or that page set straight to the printer to print. Or alternatively, if you didn't have it connected to a Wi-Fi printer, you could just download a PDF version of that low-tech board, email it to yourself, and then print it from a computer that's connected to the Wi-Fi printer. Okay, so to do that, all we have to do is go to the settings cog with the pencil, then go to the page settings that you see page down the bottom of the screen. I'm going to click on page, and then straight away we've got on the right hand side, you've got 4 items just under the word done. So we've got an arrow to the left, which is undo, an arrow to the right, which is redo. You've got the scanning page button, and then finally we've got the printer icon. So if I click on the printer icon, that's going to bring up this particular section. So what this page is telling me now is that what pages do you want to select to print? So at the moment, if you see down the bottom, it's in the little blue box, it says core words. So automatically when I'm in that core words page, it's going to print that core words page for me. So I can very simply press next, okay? Then this is what my core board will look like. So now I can do a few little changes to it. Do I want the message bar on the top? Yes or no, so I can turn that off. Do I want the toolbar on the left, core words, quick fires, topics, and so on and so forth? No, I can turn that off if I want to. Do I want the link visualizations? And they're those little gray arrows that you'll see on some buttons that bring you to a new page. I can turn them off. And then I can very simply go to print. It's going to open up the printer options. It's going to find my printer so I can see it's connecting to the printer outside. I can choose that to print that and press print. That's going to print for me then. So the page is printed. Okay, I can do that. Or if I go back in here again, I can also go to the PDF. So I'm just going to quickly jump back to that same screen, print. And I can also select the drop down, print to PDF, create my PDF version of that board, and then I can email that to myself then as well. So there are your 2 options when it comes to printing then as well. Okay. So the next feature I want to show you is the Google Assistant feature. And again, the Google Assistant feature, whether you're using the PCS symbol page set, the text-based page set, the aphasia-based page set, or any of the other page sets, you can use that Google Assistant feature because it's now built into the software. So Toby Dynavox and Google have collaborated to create this particular, I suppose, inbuilt feature. So now you don't necessarily need a Google speaker at home or an Alexa speaker. It's built into the device. All you need is a Wi-Fi connection. So all you need is a Wi-Fi connection and also a Gmail as well. So I suppose the majority of us have Gmails now at this stage. So when we have a Gmail account, all we have to do is click the settings cog with the pencil up the top right-hand corner, click on user down the bottom of your screen, scrolling down, and then you'll find connected as Michael at Safe Care Technologies at the very bottom of the screen. Okay, so Google account, you just need to log in here. It asks you for a few permissions. Once that's done, your Google account is then connected to the software. Okay, so you will find the Google Assistant buttons within the dashboard. So I'll go over to the left-hand side to dashboard. Okay, and then I'll go to the Google Assistant button. So when I click Google Assistant button, we have all different areas that we can work with Google Assistant. So sometimes we might just want to ask Google for the time and the weather. Sometimes we want to ask Google for fun stuff like it's my birthday, or sing me a song, or what does the dog sound like? What does the cat sound like? Sometimes we might need to use Google Assistant for home controls like opening windows, doors, blinds, and so on and so forth. Even controlling the TV, like changing the channel, or even simple information like, you know, if I'm out and about and I can't remember how I need to get home, I can have that button programmed in that searches my location and tells me how to get home from this location to my home address, for example. So I can go into information. Here we have some.
What is the temperature on Mars?
Okay.
About minus 81 degrees Fahrenheit. On the website weather.gov, they say temperatures on Mars average about minus.
Be quiet.
Okay, so we can go there. We can even go into fun stuff, for example.
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Okay.
Be quiet.
So if you find it as well, she's going on too long, you can tell her to be quiet. And then we can even go into home controls, as I mentioned, turning on the lights, you know, and so on and so forth, turning up the temperature in the house, and all those as well. So there's lots you can actually do with Google Assistant itself. You can get it to play music and so on and so forth as well. So that is the Google Assistant. You can also obviously as well use Google or, you know, other speakers as well. So if you had that Google speaker at home or that Alexa speaker, it's just a case of programming in the button. For example, if I go into other smart assistants and go into Alexa, we can go to
Alexa, turn down the volume.
And Alexa is going to do that for us then. Okay, so the button is replacing obviously your voice. So it's speaking, it's going to say, Alexa, turn down the volume, for example. Okay, so that is the Google Assistant. So that pretty much covers everything what I was going to cover today in relation to TD Snap.